I understand the glue that holds them together, I do. But now I'm starting to understand too what is pulling them apart. And it's their fundamental disagreement on who these children are, what these children are going to be, are the children's an extension of them. This is going to be the tension moving forward. What happens to little Archie and little Lilibet? I hear even less. I think 50,000 they'll turn up. I know they wanted, when 5 or 6 years ago, they wanted $1 million.
Things are not good between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. I've obviously been reporting that for some time. But Radar Online now ripping the lid off what they describe as their most brutal fight yet, why it could finally end their marriage. And of course, it is this total discrepancy between the unhappy couple in regards to how they treat their children and the commercialization of Archie and Lily specifically on social media. So we're going to get exclusive reaction from Rob Shooter of the brilliant Shooter Scoop Substack imminently. But first, let me take you through this reporting. Even though it's in Radar Online, I think it is worth noting that Aaron Tinney is the reporter behind this. He is a UK-based tabloid veteran who is deeply sourced on this stuff. So he writes, Prince Harry is locked in what sources described as his most brutal fight yet with Meghan Markle over how much of their children's lives should be visitable to the public. In a clash, friends have warned Radar Online could finally end their marriage if it remains unresolved. The dispute has intensified since December when the Duke and Duchess of Sussex confirmed they were renaming their organisation Archewell to Archewell Philanthropies and said the move would allow them and their children to expand their global charitable work as a family. An insider said the issue has become a recurring flashpoint. Now, what's interesting here, Aaron Tinney's got a couple of quotes. This first from a source close to the couple, who says, this is an issue where they are fundamentally pulling in different directions, and no matter how many times they think they have parked it, it resurfaces again. That is why it has become their most brutal fight yet. It strikes at their identities as parents and what they believe their children's lives should look like. If neither of them is willing to bend, people around them fear it could be the thing that finally breaks the marriage. The love they have for Archie and Lily is unquestionable, but the same love makes every conversation heavier, more emotional, and far harder to resolve. Then from another insider who says Harry's protectiveness is rooted very deeply in what he experienced growing up, and those scars are still raw for him. He carries a lot of unresolved anger, that's the understatement of the year, about how exposed and packaged his childhood felt, and that has always made him acutely sensitive to even the slightest hint of his own children being treated in a similar way. From his perspective, there is no middle ground on this. Shielding Archie and Lilibet from that world is not optional. It is a core responsibility. He believes he owes them that as a father. Aaron Tinney goes on in this really interesting report. In private, Harry is said to argue his children should be shielded entirely until they are old enough to choose for themselves. The source said if it was entirely up to him, the children would be kept almost completely out of view, with their lives unfolding privately until they are old enough to decide for themselves. Harry understands that total anonymity is unrealistic given who they are, but his default reaction is always to tighten the boundaries as much as possible. He is deeply opposed to the idea that Archie and Lily should inherit any sense of duty or expectation or pressure simply because of their birth, and he is determined to spare them that unseen burden. Meghan, by contrast, is described as more pragmatic. Yeah, that's for sure. She wants the money. Our insider added, Meghan is adamant that there is no carefully plotted agenda behind how the children appear. She sees it as wanting the flexibility to include them in everyday moments without it being framed as some calculated reveal. Harry was the driving force behind keeping their faces hidden online, but Meghan often counters that their royal cousins are openly present on social media and play a visible role in the broader royal image, which makes total concealment feel inconsistent and, in her view, unnecessary. The source went on, from Meghan's perspective, keeping their children almost entirely out of sight creates its own problems. She feels that acting as though Archie and Lily are invisible only invites more curiosity, gossip, and scrutiny from the outside world. She would prefer a carefully managed level of visibility, particularly as Archewell Philanthropies expands and becomes more family-focused. How old are the kids again? Harry has not shifted from his position at all, and the standoff has sparked some very tense, emotionally charged discussions behind closed doors. Those close to the couple say the disagreements reflect deeper differences. Another insider, so a lot of people speaking here, at their core, they respond to challenges in completely different ways. Harry's reflex is to protect and pull inward, while Meghan's is to create, expand, and move forward. This disagreement is not an isolated flare up. It keeps resurfacing in different forms. They are being cautious in how they handle it, but it remains one of the most difficult and unresolved issues in their marriage. And there is a real risk it could harden into a power struggle if neither side is willing to compromise. Well, the thing is, Rob Shooter, Harry has already compromised because Meghan is doing this. It's like come hell or high water, she is doing this. And I think he is losing the battle. But it does make him look like an absolute fool. I mean, remember the podcast appearance last year when he said no people at all, no parents at all should be posting their children on social media. It's like, well, have you spoken to your wife? She's doing it already.
Yeah, you're right here. I'd argue that he is not losing a battle here. He's lost it.
Yes.
From day one,
Yes.
it has been Meghan's way or the highway, and he has been quite happy with that. And if they didn't have children, I don't think that would change. There's something about having children. I don't have children, friends of mine do, and they do say it does change you fundamentally, maybe in a way that even a marriage or a wedding does not. And so Harry here looks at these two little kids and wonders about their future and wonders what's going to happen to them. And Meghan looks at these two little kids and wonders how fabulous their future can be for the whole family and part of the brand. It's a very Victoria Beckham way of looking at family, where I think Harry is more Mel C. He'd rather the kids be behind the scenes here. But this is the fundamental problem they have as a couple. They have a lot that they enjoy together. They're quite petty. The two of them like to have a good joke about people. They like to play the victims together. I understand the glue that holds them together. I do. But now I'm starting to understand too what is pulling them apart. And it's their fundamental disagreement on who these children are, what these children are going to be. Are the children's an extension of them? And so I think here that story, Radar has got it spot on. This is going to be the tension moving forward. What happens to little Archie and little Lilibet?
The thing is, though, Rob, where I think Harry is a bit delusional is that he wants to return to the United Kingdom. He wants to have this half in, half out arrangement. He wants the children to take on a royal role. Then you actually can't keep them hidden. The role is public. And even though I don't believe Meghan is at all thinking about the royal role, she's just thinking about the money. She's thinking about the commercial exploitations, right? She wants to exploit these two children in the same way that Beyonce exploits Blue Ivy, or the way that Kim Kardashian exploits Northwest. But if you actually look at this from a royal perspective, how on earth can Harry genuinely think his entire family are going to return to the United Kingdom and that they are not going to be photographed? I mean, it's just delusional. And actually, don't we have a right to see them, given they remain very high up in the line of succession, which is a whole other story? Personally, I don't think they should be there at all, but for the moment, they do.
A shocking new report has just lifted the lid on what's being described as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's biggest fight yet. And insiders say this one cuts deeper than anything before. Sources claim tensions have reached a breaking point, exposing cracks that can no longer be hidden behind public appearances or polished PR. Tonight, we break down what triggered this explosive clash, why it matters right now, and how it could reshape the Sussex narrative moving forward. Is this just another rough patch, or the clearest sign yet that the fairy tale is under real strain? Join the channel for fearless royal analysis, like the video, and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss what comes next. Comment below. Is this just media hype or the beginning of a serious turning point?
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. Whenever I try to think of Harry as a logical human being, I always fail. You just can't think of him like that. He doesn't think
so
that way.
Hypocritical.
Yeah, exactly, and has no sense of that. We all do things that are hypocritical, but I know damn well when I'm being naughty, when I'm being hypocritical. Harry, the rules don't apply to him. A friend of mine who's known him since he was a child said, this is a little boy. When people would walk into the room, they would bow. Adults would bow to him from day one. That has to stick with you.
Yeah.
And so he's had the most extraordinary upbringing, some great, some not so great, but it really has changed the way he thinks, and he doesn't think like the rest of us. He wants it his way always. He wants to be half in, he wants to be half out. He wants to press attention when he wants it, but not when he doesn't. And it just doesn't work like that. And instead of trying to work with the system, which his brother has done pretty well and his father has, Harry and Meghan are trying to blow it all up and then yet be part of it too. I just want to say quickly, because I find this so interesting, the only thing that makes Harry and Meghan interesting is the one thing they're trying to run away from, which is the royal family. And so
Yes,
I think they've figured out
the royal
the
family
only
and their
reason.
children.
That's right. The only reason we care about you, the only reason we're talking about you right now is the one thing you're trying to run away from. So that's why I think they've figured it out. That's why Harry's trying to get back in. That's why Meghan's changing her tune a little bit, because they tried to pull away, and what's happened? Nothing. Nothing they've done has been successful. The only two things that have been successful is the Oprah Winfrey massive interview where they certainly talked about the royals, and Harry's book Spare, which was only about the royals. That's their brand. And I think they've figured that out a little too late, maybe a lot too late, but that's what now they are dealing with. How much do they want to be part of this royal family? Not as a family, but as a business.